Hey, Casey, thanks so much for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Good afternoon. You're welcome. Let's do it.
So tell me a little bit about what it's been like for you to be in quarantine in Paris. I know you don't have a balcony. How are you surviving?
I have my permission slip to go outside, which is my dog. So he's been taking a lot of walks. And also I have a pretty sunny room to work in. So I'm pretty happy. I converted my dining room table to my desk, it's been that in the past at different times, like when I've been between jobs or whatever. And so yeah, this is my new Mugler design studio.
Well, two questions first. I'm desperate to know what's the name of your dog.
His name is Panchito because we adopted him when we lived in Madrid when I worked at Loewe, and he came with the name. So
okay. So decided to keep it. Okay. And then talk to me a little bit about the work situation. I mean, what are you doing to keep busy as far as work? How are you adjusting as far as future planning for the company? What are the steps that you're taking in this moment?
Well, I think Mugler's in a pretty fortunate situation because we are currently designing the next show. So basically, we left the office, everyone went home, and when we went home, everyone took what they needed. So the design team and I have been passing sketches and ideas back and forth to each other with WhatsApp every day. I brought my fabric board with me. I've been working on colors, we've been working on renderings, but basically we've been designing it. And instead of, usually we rush to design it, and then this time we ended up having extra time. So we actually designed way more than we needed to, and then we had this really big edit for the first time, which in a way we're having the ideal design season. It's kind of weird because it's more time to think. And I'm also here alone, and I think I'm pushing myself further because I have more, I'm not stuck in meetings all day talking about all these different things. I'm just thinking about what the big issues are. So then all of the sketches are passed to the pattern makers in their apartments. And then we ship them fabrics from the fabric mills, and then they start doing the draping in their apartment. And then on WhatsApp, we exchange pictures. And we're basically making stuff, but we're making things in everybody's houses.
You must be so lucky because I know how important the touching and seeing the fabrics are for you, that you already had that part of the process done before this all came down. What for you has been the most difficult part of this? It sounds like it's going really smooth. So what for you has been kind of more challenging?
Well, it hasn't gotten to the part of the season where it's a real fitting, because the first thing that we do is a half toile on the mannequin. And then the real first prototype has to go on the body. So the in-person part is the part that is TBD. So we're just hoping that at some point soon we might be able to do that. But that's where things might get a little bit more dicey, I guess.
I'm curious to know, because I know what an insanely hard worker you are, but what are you doing, to kind of blow off steam, to relax? Are you binge watching? Are you listening to podcasts? Are you, I don't know, reading a lot of books? What are your pleasures in these days?
I mean, pretty much all of those things. Well, I have been running a lot. I have been taking up jumping rope.
Neighbors must be so happy.
No, I don't. Actually, it's weird because I do it outside and everyone can hear and then everyone starts looking out their balconies. It gets a little weird. And then we also bought these cool converting dumbbells that you put a clip in and it changes what weight it is. It's like this little built-in system. So yes, we have established a home gym at Amazon France, and yeah, I've been exercising a lot and actually eating really healthy because cooking so much. It was my husband's birthday yesterday, and I cooked my first cake ever.
What was that like?
I don't know. I've been watching the Great British Bake Off for a couple years, and I think something stuck. So it just is good. It's a good cake, so I was very excited about that.
What cake was it? What did you decide to try?
It's a dark chocolate cake with a dark chocolate ganache on top.
That's
And I
amazing.
nailed it. I'm very proud. I was totally thinking I was gonna mess it up, but it came out okay. I've been watching a lot of TV and a lot of movies, and then I have been furiously cleaning the house. I reorganized my entire closet. I went through all the clothes that were in storage. I reorganized my library, went through all my magazines. Yeah, and this weekend I'm going to like organize my jewelry. I mean, it's going really deep.
Oh my God, you are OCDing, you are Mary Kwan, you know, get the spark
I
joy.
kind I kind of clean to reestablish control of a situation. So I guess the fact that I'm cleaning a lot might be, you know, my passive anxiety.
What's it like to celebrate a birthday in quarantine?
I mean, I was very worried about it because I just wanted to make sure that he had a special day. So what I did is I arranged 4 different Zoom parties at different times of the day for different friends. So like our friends from New York, from college, one for family, one of a group of friends in Paris, and then another group of friends in New York. So it's it's amazing how when we went to bed last night, we felt like we had seen everybody. Like it did feel very social, and it did sort of scratch the need for, you know, for actually talking to people. So that was a success. And then otherwise it was a lot of creativity. Like I handmade all of the, like there's a big happy birthday John that I made by hand. I like decoupaged a box to put his present inside. You just because like really go out and get anything, and so I just made everything instead.
I think that'll mean so much more to him in the end. I really do, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, we always end up making each other presents, so it kind of fits in.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. What are you thinking about in relationship to, a lot of people are discovering Zoom, a lot of people are discovering House Party or other applications or TikTok or whatever. In this side of, you know, digital space and all of that, are you exploring new things, trying new apps, or is pretty much everything you were familiar with it, or have you had a steep learning curve?
I mean, I used to use FaceTime video a lot, and now I have been using Zoom constantly with my team. And then now we just all got on Microsoft Teams, which is actually really good. I'm quite impressed with it actually, because I usually don't like Microsoft products so much, and then Teams is pretty slick. Mm-hmm. So we've been using that a lot. House Party, I tried a couple times, but I heard it's stealing data, so I stopped using that. I like Zoom because it's more clear and straightforward. Mm-hmm. So I've been using that quite a bit. But yeah, it's like the other day I had to do a 3-hour presentation of the whole collection to the whole board of directors of Mugler. And I was able to like, I had my line sheets and my inspiration files and everything, and I shared my screen and used the mouse to like show them the details of the dress and explain what fabric it was. And it was weird because it was just like the presentation I would give at the office, except I was doing it sitting here. Mm-hmm. And I think it was at that moment where I was like, whoa, I'm getting really digital.
Well, I mean, that makes me wonder, do you think going forward, are there skill sets that you're learning or ways of working that you're doing now that you might want to continue adopting in the future once everybody's, you know, able to go back to work?
For sure. I mean, I actually just sent an email to my studio director saying what I've learned from this, you know, this season. And the first thing was that, I mean, we usually have like 2 or 3 weeks to sketch the collection. And this week I've had more like 6. I mean, this is all because we moved our presentation from, like, we were supposed to show in June to press, sorry, not press, to show to stores in June, and then show the runway show in September. And in the end, obviously everything in June got canceled. So I got a little bit of extra time because now we're going for the September, October deadline. So because of that, I got more time, but actually having 6 weeks to hit things back and forth, and then actually isolating myself from the office, I learned a lot from that. I was able to do an inspiration file myself to kind of make the groups of the clothes that we were going to make. name them myself and to kind of compile my favorite images, which is usually more of like a team thing, and it's a little bit more loose. And by doing that and by being even more clear, it was like a better guideline for designing the season. So I don't know, in the end, I was able to really commit to the design process in a much more deep and calm and sensitive way this season, which is something I don't want to not do anymore. Like I want to make sure we do that next season. And I just said, I usually don't have time to do this. And because I was away, I had time this time. So next season, even if things are back to normal, I want to make sure that I actually isolate for 2 weeks when I'm designing.
I think that's really smart. That's an interesting point. You mentioned earlier the bit about, there's no menswear happening, there's no couture happening, that's all stopping. What are you thinking? How do you think things are going to shake out as far as how fashion is going to behave or work in the future once we come out the other side of this? Do you think that it's going to go back to its old ways? Do you think there's going to be a big paradigm shift in terms of what we think about, what we need to be doing, what we maybe can live without, etc.? I don't know if you've had any thoughts about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that this is happening at the same time that we decided to stop making 4 collections per year anyways. So we're only making 2 and we're trying to make less, but make it better. And I think that I've always been a fan of clothes that last and trying to make, we're making luxury market clothes, so they are meant to last. So I do think that when we go back to normal, if we do, then there are a lot of new goals that I think are coming from this. I think when you sit back and you take time, I think it's a time to be really clear about what you need to offer the client and what you believe in as a product category or like a type of clothing that you want to stand for and how useful that actually is. So I think there's been a lot of reflection about what's going to be the newer, badder, bigger Mugler when we come back in terms of sustainability and in terms of like sharpening products, basically, so that they're as useful and iconic as possible. So I think that's true. I think that the way that we present, very well might change. And I've started to put some ideas together of like what might have to happen in September or October if things haven't changed for the better.
Then let's talk about
travel.
Sorry?
Maybe we are going to travel less. Like I would always fly to Florence to fit the first prototype of the shoe, or they had to ship it to me, but if they ship it to me, then you can't really like translate the changes. I don't know. I think I can probably do it on Zoom. If you can like turn the shoe around and I can tell you what to do and screen grab it and draw on top, it changes things quite a bit.
Well, that's exciting. The other thing that I want to know, and this would be probably my last question, is great digital isolation, all of that, but what is the thing that you are dying to do once you are, set free in the world again? Is there a place you want to go, a thing you want to do, a restaurant you want to visit?
I don't know. 2 things flashed into my head. One was like being in the south of France, like water would be nice. It's always where I want to be when I've been trapped inside for a while. And then the second thing that flashed into my mind was a crowded dance club, because I think that's going to be the last thing to come back. So I think it's also, when I think about being at a club and like sharing drinks with people and all touching each other and like, running into each other and sweating all over each other, it feels so weird now. It's because it's so different. I run outside and people like jump to the sides, it's everyone's politely avoiding each other, but it's funny to think about what was happening just a few months ago.
Yeah, that whole idea of personal space has just been amplified to the nth degree. But I think you're right that celebratory dancing all together, that joyful, making a joyful noise, and that's going to be absolutely the last thing to come back. We'll have to wait for a vaccine until that happens, I fear.
Yeah, for sure. We can tear it up pretty well on Zoom, but you need something that like I don't know if House Party does this, but I haven't tried, but something that plays the same music everywhere so that you can all dance to the same music, then maybe we could, I gotta work on that.
But yeah, I've been listening to, that's one of the things that I've been doing is I've been listening to DJ Nice, where he does these live, concerts,
Okay.
like just, DJing for like hours live, and knowing that me and, 1,000 other people are all rocking out at the same time around the world. There is something to that. I mean, it's not the same, but it's nice that you're connected.
But I think think about that. Like a couple months ago, you might have been like, I'm not doing that. And now you're like, this is awesome. I need this. And it's just because what your needs have changed, but maybe after this experience that will become more normal. I don't know. But it is more digital. I mean, I think that it's going deeper now.
Well, Casey, thank you so much for taking the time. I hope one day soon we'll be able to see each other in the flesh and do the French kiss, or at least the elbows, and hang out. It would be great. And until then, I look forward to seeing your next collection, however I get to see it.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye,
Jessica. I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks.